Hello, we're going to do the percent unit review. If you're in Mrs. Carlton's class, if you're in Mr. Dudley's class, we call this the Chapter 7 review, Carlton. A couple of different ways to do these problems. First of all, you can take, it says what number is 25.8% of 320? Well, you could just take and move the decimal two places like this. You're dividing by 100. You can put that in your calculator, 0.258 times 320. Now you put in a fraction of a number, right? So as long as you don't put in 100%, you're not going to get 320. It's got to be less than that. It's about a quarter of that. It's probably about 80. 82.56, so we'll just write that down, equals 82.56. You can also put this into the box, and to save a little time, I boxed it up for us. Here's 25.8% out of 100. That will be equivalent to some number out of 320. Let's just put it in the box and see if it works. 320 times 25.8 and divide by 100. 82.56, same answer. Why? Why does it work? Well, hey, remember when we divided by 100 up here and then we multiplied? Well, down here we multiplied, then we divided by 100. It's going to be the same way, either, same answer both ways. I'll continue to do a couple. This is a little bit harder. Here we have 185%. A lot of kids want to move the decimal 3 places, but we move it 2 places. So I'm going to put 1.85 times 95 in. Now, this is going to be, it's greater than 1. It's almost 2. It's almost going to be double that. All right? So double that would be almost 200. So I'm thinking my answer is going to be around 180, but let's just go ahead and put this in. 1.85 times 95, 175.75. That's good. My estimate was close. I'll box it up for those of you who like to box it. We need 185% out of 100, and this is the of 95. So the ofs always go down here. This is of, and this is is. This is the part on a box, and this is the whole on a box. These are important words to know. I'll just multiply and then divide. 95 times 185 divided by 100. We should have the same answer, 175.75. There we go. All right, let's just drop down and do this one down here. We want 74% of 56. Let's do it the calculator way first. We'll divide first and then just take 0.74. So of means multiply, so there's my little abbreviated work step here. So 0.74 times 56, it's got to be less than 56. That equals 41.44. Let's box it and see if we get the same answer in case you like that. 74%, 74% out of 100%, and we're of 56, so of is down here. So multiply. So we'll take 56 times 74 divided by 100, and you see we got that same answer, 41.44. So whichever way you like to do it. This one here, a little bit different because we've got this fraction that's attached to it. So Carlton kids, I'm sure Miss Carlton has you make these both into decimals, and so you can make this into a decimal, and then you make the 5/8 into a decimal. So this becomes 0.35. 5/8 is 0.625, and then together that's 0.35. There's your 35%, and here's the 625. Here's the extra. The Dudley kids, I kind of teach them how to do that with a heart. Each lobe of the heart has one of these. You make them into decimals, and when they come together and you drop that second decimal, you've got that number there. So we'll just take that times 64. It's going to be about a third of 64. So I'm expecting to answer somewhere 21, 22, something like that. So 0.35, 0.35 times, I didn't do it the whole thing, 0.35625 times 64. My answer is 22.8, 22.8. Can you box it? You can box just about anything. You just put it up there. This would be 35.625%. You just convert the fraction to a decimal. That's out of 100%. And we're looking for something out of 64 here. We're just going to multiply and then divide. So we will do that. 64 times 35.625 divided by 100. We should get the same answer, 22.8. So a couple of different ways to do all those problems. Here we're going to be what percent of a number, determine what percent one number is of another. And this, we're rounding to the nearest tenth. I'll have to keep that in mind. Up here we didn't have any rounding. So what percent of, I'm going to box this. What percent of 36 is 14? There's my of, there's my is. Remember over here, of, is. Okay, so I'm just going to go 14 times 100 divided by 36. Well, 1400, that's just 14 times 100 is 1400. Divided by 36, we've got a 38.88888. So if we take a look at that, I'll just write this down a little bit. 38.888. We're rounding to the nearest tenth. So we go to the tenth, we drop in a door there, we look behind the door, the 8's knocking on the door, as Mrs. Wooten likes to say. Is there enough to let it in? Absolutely. That becomes 38.9. 38.9 is our rounded answer. 38.9%. Okay, our exact answer will be 38.8 repeating. Okay, what number is 70% of 130? Let's box this up. What number is 70% of 130? What number is, this is what we're looking for right up here. Okay, well, it's going to be less than 130, right? Because we have 70% of it's just over half. So, we're going to be somewhere, half of it would be 65. So it's going to be bigger than 65 and less than 130. So we'll multiply and then divide. Let's go ahead and do that. So we'll take the 130, take it times the 130. Yikes. 130, take that times the 70, and then we will divide that by 100. We get an answer that doesn't make sense. 130, I don't think I cleared. 130 times 70 divided by 100. There's our answer that makes sense. 91. See how, because I did the estimate, I automatically just don't write down my answer. I mean, it's like I have a number, kind of a number range in mind. All right, let's do this one right down here. 23%, let's fill it out as we go, of what number is 12? Okay, so we're going to take 12 times 100, which is just 1200. So 1200, and then we will divide it by 23. We've got 52.1739, blah, blah, blah. Again, we're rounding to the nearest tenth. Rounding to the nearest tenth. I'm going to try that one more time. 1200 divided by 23. There we go. 52.17. 3913. Okay, so we have to round to the nearest tenth again, so we'll drop a door in after the dime spot, the tenth spot right here, and look behind the door. There's a 7 knocking. Is that enough to open the door? Yeah. Remember, 5 to the sky, 4 to the floor. This one's going to allow that to raise up. So this is actually, change that to 52. I'll just write it over here. 52.2 is your answer here. All right, let's go over and take a look at this one here. Make my box here. What percent, we're looking for a percent, of 74 is 25? Well, we're thinking it's about a third of it, right? Because 25 times 3 is 75. So let's pop this in here. We're going to do 25 times 100 divided by 74. So 25 times 100, and we will just divide that by 74. We've got 33.78 I'll go ahead and do up here again, 33.783, blah, blah, blah. Bunch of numbers there. But rounding to the nearest tenth, again, we drop that door in after the dime spot. We look, is there enough to raise that up? Yes, there is. So we are going to call this 33.8. And like I said, it's about a third of it. Okie dokie. Let's take a look at this word problem down here. I'm just guessing there's a box, and if I have to erase it or cross it off, that's fine too. But 40% of the guests were invited to a concert. If 84 guests attended the concert, how many total guests are there? So I guess what we're really looking here is 40% of 84. So if 40% of the guests were invited to a concert, if 84 were total, this is the 84, this is the total attended, how many total guests? This one here, we're just going to change this a little bit. Just did a quick consult with Mrs. Carlton, and this is a little confusing. So 40% of the guests were invited to the concert. If 84 guests attended the concert, you know, I guess we're asking how many were we'll call them invited guests. Okay, so there's a total of 84 people at the concert. Okay, so then we can just box this up. You take 84 times 40% divided by 100. So 84 times 40 divided by 100 looks like 33.6. Well, in this case, you know, what are you going to do with 33.6? It is rounded to the, it's rounded 33, sorry, I think it was 33.6. Let me just run that one more time. 84 times 40 divided by 100, 32. 84 times 40 divided by 1. There we go. 33.6. So 33.6. So, I mean, I would say that because this is a tenth and we can't have, you know, 6/10 of a person, I would say that there are approximately 34 invited guests. You might say, well, what about the rest? Well, not everybody's invited. Some people just go and purchase tickets. Some are, you know, I consider these like to be VIPs, you know. Okay? All right, let's keep rolling. Slide that down so you can see. Write an equation for each problem, then solve. Round to nearest tenth as necessary. Sorry, we're just cross this out here. This is we're just going to keep going with our box ones here. So we have 56 is 80% of what number? Let's just box that up. So 56 is 80% of what number was we're looking for down there. So I've got my calculator, pop that in. So we're going to go 56 times 100 divided by 80. 5,600 divided by 80. Yeah, I shortcut it there. That's okay. You can do that too. It'll be 70. Take a look at this next one. Find 40% of 50. Well, find 40%. That's easy to fill out. Of 50. There's that of signaling the whole. So we're going to go 50 times 40 divided by 100. So 50 times 40 divided by 100. It's like 20 is our answer there. All right, let's keep rolling here. What percent? I'm getting like Sal Khan. What percent of 76 is 12? Sorry, I like imitating him. Well, we're just going to go 12 times 100 divided by 76. Well, 12 times 100 is 1200. We'll just divide that by 76, and we've got ourselves 15.789, blah, blah, blah. We're rounding to the nearest tenths. We're going to drop a door in there after the 7. Look behind the door. Is there enough to round it up to 15.8? Yes, there is. 15.8. 15.8%. Okie dokie. Moving on. 38% of 90 is what numbers? We're looking for a part up here, so we're just going to go 90 times 38 divided by 100. 90 times 38 divided by 100. We got 34.2, and that dude is already rounded to the nearest tenth, so we are good to go. Okay, get this one going here. 76 is what percent? We don't know. Of 260. There we go. So we're going to go 76 times 100 divided by 260. Well, that's just going to be 7,600. 7,600 divided by 260. We have 29. Write that off to the side here. 29.230. Blah blah blah. Again, we're rounding to the nearest tenth. So we're just going to drop a door in behind the dime spot. We'll look next door. We'll look behind the door. Is there enough there to move that up? No, there is not. So our answer is just 29.2. All right. 7% of what number is 32? So we're going to go ahead and drop the 100 in here. So that's just going to be 3,200 divided by 7. So 3,200 divided by 7. Right off to the side here, 45.714, blah, blah, blah. Drop our door in. I'm going to rewrite that. 45.7. Ooh, sorry, I read that wrong. 457.142. So we'll drop the door in. After the 10th spot, we'll look at the 4. Is that enough to raise that up? No, it is not. So this is 457.1. Okay, so we're going to estimate some solutions here, and my estimate may look my strategy may look a little bit different from Mrs. Carlton, but trust me, we've talked about it. We're really doing the exact same thing. So she kind of uses a T-chart, and I do as well. So what we're really looking for here is, instead of 28%, let's just call it 30% of, I would say this is 500. So we need 30% of 500. Well, 10% of 500 is 50, right? So here's my 10%. That would be 50. Well, if I just do a couple more 10s, I've got a total of 30%, right? 10, 20, 30. And these are all 50s. So if I add them all up, I have 150. So there it is. 30% is equal to 150. Let's do this one over here. We're looking for 37% of 397. So let's call it 40% of 400. Just round up, make it easier. So 40% of 400. Now I know some of you may be thinking, hey, why don't we do 50% and then subtract 10? We could take half of it and subtract 10%. But let's just do this. This is easy. 10% of 400 is 40, right? And move the decimal. Here's 400 again. 400. You move the decimal, and that's 10%, 40. So if I do 10% 4 times, I've got 40%. There's what I was looking for. There's my 40%. And of course I have to do 40 each time too. So that's 160. So 40% is equal to 160. Okay, I'll do it the other way. You could say that 50%, let's see, what, 40% of 400. Well, you could say that 50% of 400 is 200, and then you could subtract 10%. 10%, you move the decimal once, as we said, is 40. And you still have 160. 50 minus 10 would be that 40%. That's a strategy. I don't mind it at all. If you like it, use it. 62% Okay, so we want 60. Let's call this 60% of 857. I mean, it's a pretty big number. You could call it 800. You could call it 85. You could call it 900. I think I'm going to go with 900 here, and maybe I'll do a couple of them. I'll do an 850 too. So 60% of 900. Well, 50% of 900 would be 450. I know that because half of 90 is 450. So, or half of 90 is 45. So half of 900 will be 450. 10%, if I just move that decimal once, will be 90. So if I add these guys together, here's my 60%, and that is at, looks like 540. So 60% is equal to 540. That's my estimate. I could do 850 if you really want me to. I'll just stick it on a sticky note so I can put it right over the top here. So let's do 60% of 850. Well, 50% of that, well, half of 800 is 400, half of 50 is 25, so 50% of that would be 425, that's half of it. 10% is going to be 85. So here's my 60%, here's my 60%, 5 plus 5 is 0, this is going to be 11, 1, looks like about 510. So 60% of 850, there's my estimate now, here is 510. They're both really close in terms of estimates. All right, I tend to, you got to think about the situation, of course, but I tend to work with, the easier number would be 900 there. All right, here's a couple of problems. Let's see, these are probably going to be box problems, word problems. Bernie was earning $12.60 per hour. He received a raise of $1.07. What percent was his raise? Well, this is interesting. So the $1.07%, so here's the $1.07, and this is the original here. This is $12.60. So that $1.07 out of $12.60 is going to be like some percent, we don't know, out of 100%, right? I mean, that's the way the box works. I mean, these would be equal fractions when we do our thing. So we take that 1.07. 1.07, we'll multiply that times 100, then we will divide that by 12.6, and we've got 8.492. In this case here, I think we should probably round to the nearest tenth as well. It doesn't say, so we'll just round to the nearest tenth. This one here, we drop the door in, the 9 is big enough to raise that up to 8.5. So 8.5% raise. Nice job, Bernie. Go, Bernie. All right. A merchant sold 3,500 hats in 1 month. If this was 85% of the sales, how many hats were there in all? So the 3,500 hats is representative of 87.5%. I mean, so the question is this the total number, or is it equal to the 87.5%? Well, it says that they sold this many hats in 1 month, and if that is 87% of the total hats sold, how many hats were there in all? Well, so the 100% is going to be like the total hats. So this is going to be kind of a big problem. We'll figure it out. It's about hats. You all like hats. So let's go 3,500, 3,500. We'll take that times that 100, and then we'll just divide that by 87.5. That's 4,000 hats in total. 4,000 total hats. Nice. 4,000 total hats there. All right.